The stars above the planet Zorath, 9 burned cold and distant, casting an eerie glow over the alien landscape. The air was thick with the scent of sulfur and the hum of unseen machinery. It was here, in the heart of the Alien Queen's hive, that humanity's fate would be decided. The Queen, a towering figure of chitin and bioluminescent veins, loomed over the human prisoner. Her multifaceted eyes glimmered with an intelligence that was both ancient and alien. Her name was Xylara, and she was the undisputed ruler of the Zorathian Empire, a civilization that had conquered countless worlds. Yet, for all her power, she had never taken a human as her champion, until now. The human, a man named Kael, stood defiantly before her. His armor was battered, his face streaked with dirt and blood, but his eyes burned with a fire that even the Queen found intriguing. He had been captured during a skirmish on the outskirts of the hive, a lone soldier fighting a hopeless battle against the Zorathian swarm. Yet, instead of executing him, Xylara had brought him before her. "Why me?" Kael demanded, his voice echoing in the cavernous chamber. "Why not just kill me like the others?" Xylara tilted her head, her mandibles clicking softly. "You are different," she said, her voice a haunting melody that seemed to resonate in Kael's very soul. "You fought not for glory or conquest, but to protect your kind. Such loyalty is rare, even among my own people." Kael frowned. "So what? You want me to fight for you now? To betray my own species?" The Queen's eyes gleamed. "No, human. I want you to fight with me. Not as a servant, but as a champion. Together, we will face a threat greater than either of us can imagine." Kael's mind raced. He had heard rumors of a greater enemy, a force that even the Zorathians feared. But why would the Queen choose him, a mere human, to stand by her side? What could she possibly gain from this alliance? Before he could voice his doubts, Xylara extended a clawed hand. "Join me, Kael," she said. "Prove your worth, and I will grant you power beyond your wildest dreams." Against his better judgment, Kael reached out and clasped her hand. The moment their skin touched, a surge of energy coursed through him, filling him with strength and clarity. He felt a connection to the Queen, a bond that transcended words. But even as he accepted her offer, he couldn't shake the feeling that her motives were far more complex than she let on. The days that followed were a blur of training and preparation. Kael was given access to the hive's most advanced technology, his body enhanced with biomechanical implants that made him faster, stronger, and more resilient. He learned to wield weapons forged from alien alloys and to command the loyalty of the Zorathian swarm. Yet, despite his growing power, he remained wary of the Queen. Xylara was an enigma, her actions guided by a logic that Kael could not comprehend. She spoke of unity and survival, but her words were laced with ambiguity. She claimed that the greater enemy, a race known as the Voidborn, posed a threat to all life in the galaxy. Yet, she refused to elaborate on their nature or origin. "Why won't you tell me more about them?" Kael asked one day, as they stood on the observation deck of the hive's central spire. Below them, the swarm moved in perfect harmony, a living testament to the Queen's power. Xylara's gaze remained fixed on the horizon. "Some truths are too dangerous to speak aloud," she said. "The Voidborn are not merely an enemy. They're a force of nature. To understand them is to risk madness." Kael clenched his fists. "And you expect me to fight them blindly? To risk my life for a cause I don't even understand?" The Queen turned to him, her eyes piercing. "You fight because you must," she said, "because the alternative is annihilation. Trust in me, Kael, and I will guide you to victory." But trust did not come easily to Kael. He had seen too much of the galaxy's cruelty to believe in altruism. He began to suspect that Xylara's motives were not as noble as she claimed. Perhaps she sought to use him as a pawn in a larger game, or perhaps she was driven by some hidden agenda. Whatever the case, he knew he could not rely on her alone. As the days turned into weeks, Kael began to uncover fragments of the truth. He discovered hidden archives within the hive, records of ancient battles and forgotten civilizations. He learned that the Voidborn were not merely an alien race, but a manifestation of entropy itself, a force that consumed worlds and left only darkness in its wake. He also learned that Xylara had faced them before, long ago, and had barely survived. But the most startling revelation came when he stumbled upon a recording of the Queen's past. It showed her not as a conqueror, but as a savior, leading her people to safety from the Voidborn's relentless advance. Yet, it also revealed a darker side to her nature, a willingness to sacrifice anything and anyone to achieve her goals. Kael confronted her that night, his anger boiling over. "You lied to me," he said, his voice trembling with rage. "You've been using me this whole time, just like you've used everyone else." Xylara regarded him calmly. "I have done what is necessary," she said. "The Voidborn cannot be defeated by strength alone. They must be outwitted, outmaneuvered. And for that, I need a champion who is willing to make the hard choices." "And what choices are those?" Kael demanded. "Sacrificing innocent lives? Betraying your allies? Is that what you expect from me?" The Queen's expression softened, a rare glimpse of vulnerability. "I expect you to do what I cannot," she said. "To lead when I falter, to fight when I am weak. You are not merely my champion, Kael. You are my hope." Her words struck a chord within him, but they did not quell his doubts. He knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger and moral ambiguity. Yet, he also knew that he could not turn away. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and he was the only one who could stand against the Voidborn. The final battle took place on the edge of a dying star, its light flickering like a candle in the wind. The Voidborn descended upon the hive like a tidal wave, their forms shifting and twisting in ways that defied comprehension. Kael led the charge, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. Beside him, Xylara fought with a ferocity that belied her regal demeanor. The battle was brutal and unrelenting. The swarm fell by the thousands, their bodies dissolving into ash. Kael himself was wounded, his armor cracked, and his blood staining the ground. Yet he pressed on, driven by a resolve that even the Voidborn could not break. In the end, it was not strength or strategy that turned the tide, but something far more profound. As Kael faced the Voidborn's leader, a being of pure darkness, he realized that it was not an enemy to be defeated, but a force to be understood. He reached out, not with a weapon, but with an open hand. "We are not so different," he said, his voice steady. "We both fight for survival. But there is another way." The Voidborn hesitated, its form wavering. For a moment, it seemed as though Kael's words had reached it. But then, with a roar that shook the heavens, it struck. Xylara intervened at the last second, shielding Kael with her own body. The blow shattered her exoskeleton, sending her sprawling to the ground. Kael cried out, his heart breaking as he cradled her broken form. "Why?" he whispered. "Why did you do that?" "The one who will find it."